You what?
Sure. We plug it all the time, every week.
Okay, we're back with Mike. Mike is a social customer marketer.
No, researcher.
Dang it. I'm going to get one of these right one of these times. So tell us a little bit about what you do here, Mike.
Great. So I've been at FamilySearch for 4 years.
Awesome.
And my role is to kind of get into the head of our customers. And I've focused on different customers over the last 4 years. So first I started on beginners, then I started on family history consultants. And now I'm focused on families.
Families, okay.
So the last year I've been studying this question on the board at the top. How do families discover, gather, and strengthen their families together through family history? That's our focus, right? Because a lot of times what we found with family history is you get like one or a handful of people in a family that are the enthusiast, and they kind of drive it for everyone. But we're interested in knowing how can we pull the whole family in. So my focus has been to go out and look at families and understand what their experience is, and then bring back some learnings and back to the geniuses like Ron, who can figure out how to solve our problems and make better solutions for families.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
So I thought maybe what I'd do is share some of the things that we've been learning.
Okay.
And if you have any questions as we go,
let us know.
You can let us know.
So all this research is about families, not
Working together.
genealogists.
Families doing family history and genealogy together.
Okay.
It's about doing it together.
So it's like, and again, we want to really kind of tap into some people that really haven't historically been inside FamilySearch.
Okay.
Like whole families.
All right. Okay. Show us around.
So this area right here is about how families get started working together. And we talked about it, we observed, so as we go out and do these interviews, so we've talked about like 50 plus families all over the US from all different kind of cultural backgrounds and different family structures, like maybe they're from, regular family, mom, dad, kids, or divorced family, or remarried family, or all kinds of families.
Mm-hmm.
We don't just want to focus on one type of family. So this whole area was things that we observed that stop them from engaging. Like they're confused, they think it's hard, they don't have time, they have questions about what are the rules, they're afraid to kind of mess up things. So this is all barriers. Some of them have ideas about how they can succeed. But one of the things that we heard from parents is, I really want to get my kids in, but you guys need to give me low prep solutions because I don't have a lot of time. Moms especially said, we're really, really busy.
Yeah.
And I don't have time to go do like all this complicated research stuff, but I want my kids to understand who my family is, where we came from, but I need really walk-up solutions. Walk-up solutions. In fact, moms ended up being a big theme for us. As we went out and started looking at the data, moms were like, I'm really interested in this stuff, but for different reasons than maybe the traditional genealogist is interested in. So moms are like, they want to do the memory side of family history.
Yeah.
Right? Because they use those memories to help their children understand who they are, where they've come from. They use them to transmit family values. They use them to teach life's lessons, like important lessons to their kids. So moms really do like that family history to be present, but again, they need some walk-up solutions.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
We also saw this area is about how they work together. So sometimes what they said is, I want to have large group experiences, like there's things that happen at a reunion, I need ideas about that. So we got a whole bunch of things here. Or smaller group experiences, we saw a bunch of those things where like a parent is working with the child and teaching them things, how to do stuff. But they also said some stuff is best just left alone. Like if I'm doing research, I don't want a whole bunch of people touching it at the same time. Right? Maybe I'll do some handoff stuff and some division of labor stuff, but we can't both do heavy core research on one family at the same time because we step on each other's toes.
Makes sense.
Okay?
Okay.
This whole section here is about how families can help each other. And we saw a whole bunch of evidence of what good help looks like. So again, if you have that person that already knows family history really well in a family, we saw a lot of good examples of what a good example of helping the family looks like. Like they'll say, like we saw those people make it easier for their family members. They provide ways they can be successful. They make those people feel special. They help the family understand how amazing their family is, right? They mentor them. They're flexible in terms of helping. Like one of the people we saw, they were reaching out to one of these experts in the family, and the expert's like, "Oh yeah, text me anytime." And they had some specific questions. She's like, "You can text me till midnight," right? That kind of flexibility, families really welcome that. But we also saw a number of examples of not so good help inside family, where they were actually some of those experts were alienating family members, and so we're summarizing some of those behaviors so we can bring those back and share them with those family experts. Make sense?
Yeah, so we can make some improvements.
Yep, that's what we're all about.
Okay, I'm going to switch into spots, guys.
I'm going to go over to this
Going
one.
around the corner.
Here we go.
So this whole area is about the power of memories and what those memories do for families. And what we found is like a lot of families would go and say, "Hey, what do you do for family history?" And they'd say, "Oh, we don't really do anything." And we say, "Well, tell me about your family." And they'd start sharing family stories, and they had these family photos, and but they didn't really think of that as family history necessarily, because they were equating family history with finding names.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And so when we dug into what does a good memory experience look like, where you're really understanding where your family came from and who these people were, then we saw these patterns emerging of what makes for good discovery in terms of helping your family discover who they are and where they've come from. And these were the patterns we saw there. When you can give the family experiences that let them have almost a vicarious experience. So this whole area is on what we call walking where they walked. So, for example, if you have an ancestor, like where's your family from?
I think we're from Wales.
Wales,
Well,
right?
that's way back.
So let's say you have someone from Wales, right?
Okay.
If you want your kids to know about Wales, and there's a certain place in Wales, like I was just working on this thing, I can't even pronounce the names, those Welsh names are
Little crazy.
this long.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
But you Google search that, you get an image of that town. If you know that that person was from that place in Wales in 1880, you Google search images, and all of a sudden you can see pictures of buildings and places and churches. So a lot of times a marriage record will list the church that they were married in. You can find an image of that church, right?
Okay.
So that's helping them walk where they walked. And a lot of families said, when we can, we prefer to visit that. Like we were talking with someone that during their family reunion, they went to a place where the family had lived for a period of time in Wyoming.
Okay.
And as a family, they went and they sat together in the schoolhouse that their great-great-whatever grandmother had taught in that schoolhouse. Right?
How fun.
There's something really that's almost electric when you can actually visit in person. But if you can't, again, use Google
To find just
to go
about
look
anything.
at it, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking to the teams about, okay, how can we bring those kinds of experiences into FamilySearch? And that's all kinds of stuff that Ron and the geniuses are considering. Not making any commitments here, but those are things that we want to consider when we're doing discovery.
Sure.
Make sense?
Yep.
That's walking where they walk. We also, if you can see what they saw, so images, photos, pictures, that even if it's not them actually, like there was one family who had an ancestor that was in 1891 a lace maker in Nottingham, England.
Interesting.
We couldn't find her picture, but we found a picture of the Women's Guild of Lace Makers in Nottingham, England in the same year. So we can show, you can see what she saw, because these are people that she probably knew.
All right.
She might be one of them for all we know.
Right.
So again, see what they saw, understand what their world was like. Read what they wrote, or hear what they said, the stories they've written down. Or we're even finding now that audio, you can record audio, those kind of audio memories are really important, right? And we're even wondering about, well, how does video fit into this, right?
Right.
Touch what they touched, artifacts. Every family, I have, for example, my grandfather, I never met him, but I have his spectacles. And I'll take those spectacles to the family reunion, and what do all the kids want to do?
Touch them, put them on.
Touch them, put them on.
Yeah.
They want to see through the glasses that their great-grandfather looked through. There's something, again, very, it connects you. It makes it real. Those people become real. And again, parents really want that.
Yeah.
Right? Prepare what they eat, or prepare and eat what they ate. Food's a big deal, right? Big deal for families.
Sure.
Lots of memories associated with food traditions.
Yeah.
Holidays. This one couple from China, they celebrate, so there's, I guess, I don't know a lot about Chinese culture, but what they told us that it's very common in Chinese culture that you, on the day, on the anniversary of when your ancestor was born, you make a meal that they like to eat.
Mm,
And then
okay.
they do this little thing where they prepare the food and then they flip 2 coins. And if you get 2 heads, you can eat the meal. If you get a head and a tail, you have to wait. If you get 2 tails, you can't eat it, right?
Interesting.
But I think
Okay.
they eat it anyway. But anyway, that's a little thing to kind of remember the ancestor, and the food connects them back to that.
Interesting. Okay.
So, and then we got a whole bunch of suggestions about how to make memories better. So if you guys have suggestions about that, you can send them to Ron.
Yeah.
And we'd love to hear that, because we're gathering this all up. The whole point of this is to understand what the pain points are. And all these red things are pain points, or ideas that people have had about how to fix things, right? And we're just now working with all our development teams here to walk through the learnings, and then they're going to give us ideas about how to fix things. So that's really, I have the best job here, because I get to go interact with our amazing customers and learn from them how we can make it better, and then I bring that back to the teams, and they do all the magic.
They do all the magic. All right. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Mike?
Well, you might want to take a seat, and we'll maybe ask you to tell us a little bit about why you stay here. Why do you like?
Why do you
like FamilySearch?
Why do you like FamilySearch?
Why are you here? Why do you work here?
I've worked in the software industry for over 20 years, and I love it here because I feel like I'm doing something that is long-lasting. This is an eternal thing, and gathering your family together, so it's funny because before I'd come to FamilySearch, I'd never really done family history. They're like, why did they hire you? Well, part of my experience is get into the minds of customers, right? But it was actually really good for me that I didn't know much about it, because that first assignment, one of those first assignments, was understand the beginner. And I was a beginner,
Yeah.
right? So I could empathize on a deep level.
Sure.
But as I started getting into it and finding these people in my family, it changed me, right? There is a scripture that we use in the LDS church where it talks about a man named Enos who was out hunting. And as he was hunting, the words of his father sunk deep into his heart. And because he remembered his father's words, it changed him profoundly. And as I've learned about my ancestors, I've had similar sorts of experiences, right? This last year, I was helping my son put together a report for school, and the assignment was write a report about an ancestor that served in the military. And I'm like, who could we help him write about? And I knew my mother had a brother that had served in Vietnam, but I didn't really know his story very well. And my mom had kind of protected us from that story because it wasn't the most pleasant story. Anyway, went back and talked to my mom, interviewed her about this man. And it turns out he had the classic Vietnam soldier experience where he had a really rough time in Vietnam. He encountered some very difficult things that sent him down a path in life that was very, very difficult. And made some sad choices and ended up dying fairly young at 49 in a halfway house. And as my mom shared the details of that, I just was sensitized to the Vietnam vets situation. Shortly thereafter, again, this was last year, shortly thereafter, I was driving down, I was up in Salt Lake on North Temple, driving towards the Triad Center. And out on the median, there was a man with a sign that said, "Vet, need help." And I'm in my car driving past him, and I saw him. And I've walked past people in that situation before, but when I knew that story about my uncle that I hadn't known before, that changed me. And I felt desperate. I was like, how do I roll down my window, get some money, hand it to him? Because I felt compelled to help.
Sure.
Because I had a connection there, right?
Right.
That's one of the things, that's what families want their children to have. They want them to have those stories, they want them to have those memories because they know it will change them. And it's changed me, and that's why I love this work, because it's about making all of us better as a result of understanding who our family is and connecting them and bringing them into this whole family of God together as an eternal family. And I can't think of a more important work.
Okay. So the only question we've gotten so far is they want to know when the Discovery Center is open.
Oh, it's open.
Downstairs.
Like, what are the hours?
I think
You
it's
guys know?
Monday through Saturday. You can go out to, where did I see it? I think you can Google Family History Center Lehigh, and it'll come up with a web page that gives you the hours and the days that they're open.
Okay.
I think it's Tuesday through Saturday, I think. You know, are you kind of digging around looking?
I'm looking.
I've found it once before because I needed to know what time I could sneak in.
Okay.
So, you know, just in closing here, we're getting at 5, and Mike needs to go, and we all need to go home. You know,
Catch the train.
Yeah, you can see what what Mike does is extremely important, and I'm very thankful for Mike. And Mike does a really amazing job, as you can tell. He does an amazing job of really getting into the mind and the heart and the thoughts of the customer, and helping us understand what they really want really badly to do, and then he helps us learn that, and then
There's the hours.
okay, and then it makes it better for us. It makes it easier for us engineers to understand and get empathy, because I listen to him. He's walked me through this wall. We spent a couple of hours going through all these things on the wall, and I get done and I'm like, I gotta help these people, you know. And I just feel the same way, and so that's why we scream and run off and try to figure out how to make it better and help it work. They do Monday and Friday from 9 a.m. to 5. Tuesday through Thursday they go till 9 p.m.
Okay. And then are
So
they
it's
open on
9
Saturdays?
a.m. every day, Monday through Saturday, and then on Monday and Friday they're open till 5. Tuesday and Thursday they're open till 9 p.m.
Okay.
And Saturday they're open till 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
So I think if you go to FamilySearch.org, it's on FamilySearch.org, isn't it?
This was it's on FamilySearch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just Googled Family History Center Lehigh.
Yeah, and it'll tell you that.
Okay.
And then I think they have classes and regularly scheduled classes that you can sign up for and take and things like that. So thanks a bunch, Mike, for all you do and for
Thanks for all you
spending
do.
a little time for us.
Love it.
Yeah. So like we've gotten a couple comments. They just said, "I love this in Vorarlberg, Austria." I'm sure I'm still learning that. They have an aerial view of the mountain villages. It's so cool to fly up over the hill and see the little church come into view. I would love to learn how to link this somehow. And I may have just found the ruins of an inn my ancestors managed in a Polish site. Since they don't apply to only one ancestor, something like a Pinterest board would be great for the
That's
walk
a really
where
good.
you walk.
This has come up recently because people are saying, so we have this location. What is it? What do you call the place manager? What is it, right, where we have a standard list of all our locations.
Yeah.
But people are saying, I want to be able to put images out in that, and then anyone that wants to tap into these images of a place, like these villages, we could all tap into the same thing. So that's exactly the sorts of things that we're thinking about. Okay, how do we solve this problem for people so that we don't all have to go Google search?
Right.
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 Well, certainly, just to answer your one question, you can always make a source. You can make a manual source on that and put it on everybody in that family that has a link to that plane flying over that church.
Yeah.
And so when people will see that source, you can say, here's actually a video of somebody flying over that little village with that church. And then put a URL in there, and then it'll be on those people in the tree. And you just click on that source, and we'll send them over to that website, and they can go watch the video. So that's something you can do right now. So.
Okay. Deborah says, "I'm surprised that you don't lock the doors to keep people away from wanting to work here."
It's a great place.
It's awesome.
And then Pat says, "Thanks so much for doing this. It's helped us understand what goes on and who does what."
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll continue in our next Facebook Live, I guess.
Yeah, we need to get those scheduled, by the way.
Yes, we do.
So we'll see you
much.
next time,
And
guys.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
You're welcome.